This week on Grunt Cave, we're going to paint the upper portion of the garage that we call the walkway. This section is 8.5 feet wide by 95 feet long, so it's roughly 800 square feet. To paint this area, we're going to repeat the process that we did on our garage bay floors. So we're going to have to power wash the floor, use the purple power degreaser to clean it, and then use muriatic acid to etch the concrete before we can paint. We're also going to have to use paint stripper to remove some old paint stains on the floor. So we'll make sure to record that process in depth, as well as the muriatic acid process, which we didn't capture last time on video. But to start with, we'll be power washing. So let's start it.
I'm going to be painting the top of the wall to the yellow stripe. So I started with pressure washing the top of the wall because of the dirt and debris had fallen all over the upper and lower floors. You can see several red squares on the floor as I move down the wall. I'm going to remove them all using the paint stripper after I'm done doing my pressure washing to clean the floor. To avoid flooding the work area to the left of the walkway, I washed the floor in sections, using the red squares as my dividers since they are about 10 feet apart. This made vacuuming the water up easier because we were able to keep it contained to a smaller area. After pressure washing, I poured the degreaser directly onto the wet floor. Then I used a scrub brush to spread it around. Next, I used a pressure washer to froth it up. Typically at this point, I use a floor buffer with a scrubbing head to clean the concrete. I completely forgot to do that this time, so luckily the floor still came out far cleaner than it had been before. The floor has now been washed, degreased, and all paint stains removed using paint stripper, so we are ready to etch the concrete with muriatic acid. I want an acid to water ratio around 1:4 or 1:2. A hand pump sprayer is recommended for applying it, but I'm going to be carefully pouring it on using the buckets because of how much square footage I have to do. You can see the reaction when I pour it onto the concrete, the fumes coming off of the ground. I then quickly use the scrub brush to spread it around to ensure all the concrete is etched. To start painting, I'm going to cut in the entire walkway first. The stains in this corner refuse to come off, but the paint covered them without an issue. The gray is a little bit darker than what we used on the garage bay floors, but it matches the gray on the car lift, and we really wanted the upper portion to stand out from the lower bays. You're going to paint the top of the wall red, just like the bumper boards. That way the edge of the wall stands out for safety purposes. The yellow stripe is going to be repainted to create a visual divide between the walkway and the workspace. This concrete has a smoother texture than the garage base, which allowed me to paint it a lot faster than the base. It took a little less than 2 hours to paint the whole area compared to about 5 hours on the last 2 bays, which are at most 200 square feet bigger.
So we completed the walkway. The red and yellow stripes were done by paintbrush because of the texture of the concrete. We didn't include this in the video because of how long it took. We ended up with leftover gray paint, so we're going to paint another section of the garage in the future. The paint stripping process used to remove the old markings on the floor will be covered in a separate video. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, leave some comments down below, and we'll see you next week.